Chelsea against Leicester in the 18th round of the Premier League. Both teams are facing a few injury concerns as Eden Hazard is likely to start up front for Chelsea again. But who will be that third midfielder next to Jorginho and N'Golo Kanté? Might it be Loftus-Cheek or will it just be Mateo Kovacic? To find out everything you need to know about both sides ahead of the game, make sure you watch all of this preview. Hello there guys and welcome back to 100% Chelsea for my preview of the Chelsea versus Leicester game, with the kickoff being tomorrow on Saturday at 3 PM UK time, of course at Stamford Bridge, and I'm looking forward to it. It's a Premier League game. I always look forward to Premier League games. The Christmas period coming up. It's class. So of course this is the preview. There will be a review, there will be fan cams, there will be a vlog, all sorts of content surrounding the game. So if you don't want to miss out on any of that, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea, and also let's see whether we can hit 400 or more likes in this video. That would be massively appreciated. So make sure you smash the like button down below. But now getting straight into the preview and starting it off as always by speaking about our opposition, and that's of course Leicester, who currently sit in 12th on 22 points after 17 games played, with 6 wins, 4 draws and 7 losses. And actually they have a goal difference of 0, both scoring and conceding 21 goals, which to be honest ain't bad at all. Now Sarri also said in his press conference, basically saying that Leicester just are a dangerous side because they've got some good technical players, they're decent at the back, but then they also have some mad quick players. And you know, I can't lie, with a different manager, I think they might actually be fighting for 7th rather than sitting around in 12th. Although I say that, even though they are 12th, you know, they're still only 3 points off 7th, so maybe I'm just chatting absolute horse crap basically. But you know, still their form recently has been a bit weird. Like, it's just basically one draw after the other, with, you know, a few defeats and the odd wins scattered in between those draws. Like, it's a bit strange, especially because, like I said, they've only picked up 4 draws so far this season. But you know, when you look basically at their recent results, obviously the cup games show up as well, and they kind of drew after 90 minutes against both Man City midweek and also against Southampton the round before, so it maybe looks more draws than it actually was. But like I said, I just mentioned that Man City game in midweek when you know, they lost on penalties in the League Cup quarterfinals after it was 1-0 at full time. And to be honest, Leicester properly bottled that in penalties. Like, Maguire scored, you know, their first penalty, but then the next 3 all missed. You know, it didn't go well, especially after Raheem Sterling missed his first penalty. I think it was their first, when he Panenka it over the bar. So they could have done a bit better there. It would have made, you know, the run to the, you know, League Cup title a bit easier for us. But you know, it is what it is. What I also found a little bit strange is that they basically put out their second string team for that game against City. I'm like, why? Like, you're not going to get relegated. Leicester definitely not getting relegated. They're not going to make top 6 either. So why not give it your all in the cup? Like, well, of course, you know, there are a few million quid, you know, difference where you finish in the league. I get that. But at the end of the day, you're not going to get relegated. You're not going to get into Europe. So you might as well give it your all for the cup. But of course, you know, Chelsea are playing them next. Then every team always brings their A game and plays their best games against us. That's just what happens. So that's definitely why they you know, rotate so much for this game. Obviously, I'm joking, but I still find it a bit weird that they feel, you know, that they feel as such a weak side. It wasn't bad, obviously. I mean, they got 1-1 after 90 minutes, but still, maybe they could have won with a better team. Who knows? And the games before Man City led to defeats against Palace and Spurs, a draw with Fulham, then they beat Watford, but also drew against Brighton and Burnley. Now, Dangerman-wise, it's the obvious Jamie Vardy, who's got 5 goals and 1 assist so far this season, and that with quite a few injuries already, and also a suspension of 3 games, you know, already this season, so he hasn't actually played that much, so 5 goals and assists is pretty good. But also their summer signing, James Maddison, is also on 5 goals and 2 assists as well. And to be honest, I have to say, I really like James Maddison. Like, he's a good little player, I can't lie. Like, he already showed that against us, you know, when he was with Norwich last season, when we obviously played him in the cup. You know, I quite like him as a player. Other than them 2 though, no one in their team has scored more than 2 goals. But, you know, they still have other good players. Maybe not Dangerman, as in, you know, dangerous to score, but they do have players like Ndidi, Harry Maguire, and obviously their keeper Kasper Schmeichel, who, you know, are very good players. So like I said, they might not be Dangerman, but they are very good players that, you know, make it difficult to play against them. In his press conference, their manager Claude Puel did confirm that they do have some injury troubles, and the likes of Jamie Vardy, Wilfred Ndidi, and also left back Ben Chilwell are out, although Chilwell is likely to be fit in time and feature against Chelsea. And you know, formation wise, usually the manager has them line up in a 4-2-3-1, but against Man City midweek, for example, it was more of a 4-5-1, and against Spurs a couple of weeks ago, it was a 4-3-3. Although I say that a 4-5-1 and a 4-3-3 is basically the same thing, in it. Like, you know, it's just a question of definition whether you class wingers as forwards or as midfielders. Like, you know, whether it's a 4-5-1 or 4-3-3. Like, you know, off the ball, Chelsea are mostly shaped in a 4-5-1. And, you know, sometimes a slightly odd 4-4-2, I guess. But, you know, mostly it's a 4-5-1, but still we're playing a 4-3-3 formation. It's just wingers dropping a bit deeper. So it's not all that different, really. Anyway, you know, enough of that. Let's see what they do, obviously, against us. Will they go with the 4-2-3-1 or with more of a, you know, 4-3-3 maybe helping themselves against our three-man midfield. We will have to wait and see. And lastly, obviously, when you have players like Jamie Vardy and Demirai Gray, lightning quick players, you're going to try to use their pace on the counter, like especially on the counter, and also especially against bigger and better teams than you. That's just what you have to do if you're a team like Leicester. They are better than most teams, but not good enough for the top six. Like, that's what they're going to do against us, and we're going to have to be wary of that. Like, you know, I feel like I always say this, but I do expect a tricky game. With that being it about Leicester, let's get into Mauricio Sarri's Premier's press conference now, and he started off with some team news, and the boss confirmed that the suspected hamstring injury to Andreas Christensen sustained during the Bournemouth game in midweek, is a hamstring injury, and the doctors have said that it's not all too serious, but it will be out for a week or so and miss the next 2 or 3 games. And he also clarified, Sarri did, that Christensen will not leave Chelsea under any circumstances. Obviously, there were a few reports that Barcelona made a loan, offer for him, basically tried to loan him out for the rest of the season with an option to buy him. Apparently, we declined that, and now they signed Murillo, I can't quite remember. One of the two names. Anyway, the Valencia centre-back, they signed him on a loan from Valencia. Either way, that's what they did. So, he just said that he's not going anywhere. And also, Sarri said that Alvaro Morata started training with the team again yesterday, after obviously being out for roughly 10 days, basically after the Vidi game. And said, Sarri said that only tomorrow he will decide on the team, but realistically, I'd be very surprised if Morata, will be more involved than at the maximum start on the bench. The Boston also shared his admiration for Gonzalo Higuain, both as a player and as a man, but doesn't want to talk about him or any other player from any club, at the moment. He doesn't want to talk about anyone, basically. And, obviously that question was asked because we have been linked with Gonzalo Higuain. It is stated that Mauricio Sarri has, like in the summer, asked the Chelsea board to sign him, whether we will or not. And, he definitely didn't say he doesn't want him, but, whether we will sign him is a completely different question. We'll just have to wait and see. And then he also stated that Eden Hazard up front or as a false nine is something that he wants to look at more. He said that he was pretty sure that it would work well against Manchester City, and then because it did, he thought, to try it again against Brighton, and again it worked. So, he has seen it as an option that seems to work, and the boss said that Hazard himself actually said to him that he actually likes to play in a false nine. Obviously, in some interviews, also this season, he didn't really sound like he liked it all too much. When he played there for Conte, which was obviously completely different, even though same position, completely different system and completely different type of playing there for him. Barely ever saw the ball, and now he does. Maybe not as much as on the wing, but he still sees the ball quite a bit. Apparently Sarri, he said, he likes playing there. And also Sarri said that he doesn't think Hazard does have a best position. He said it's quite simply the most important thing for him is to be free on the pitch, and then he can fully express himself and be at his very best. But that was it from the press conference, and now coming to Chelsea and talking about our lineup, also a little bit of tactics and then my score prediction. Now, lineup-wise, I am pretty confident in 10 of the 11 positions. So, as in, for 10 positions, I'm almost certain as to who will fill them. Now, Kepa Arrizabalaga will be in goal. The back four will consist of Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso as the fullbacks. The two centre-backs will be Antonio Rudiger and David Luiz. In midfield, there will be Jorginho and N'Golo Kanté. And then the front three, especially after Sarri's comments in the press conference, I'm pretty sure it will be the same as in the last 2 league games, with Hazard up front as the false nine or just striker, whatever you want to call it, with Willian and Pedro either side of him. Now, if you just paid attention, you'll know that I left out a third midfielder spot, next to Jorginho and Kanté. And all of Kovacic, Barkley and Loftus-Cheek started against Bournemouth on Wednesday. So, there's not like kind of a massive hint as to who will start. Both Kovacic and Loftus-Cheek played for the full 90 minutes, while Barkley came off after around an hour. But I really don't see Barkley starting in the Premier League tomorrow after his recent performances, which, at least in my opinion, have been pretty poor. So at least for me, it's between Kovacic and Loftus-Cheek. And obviously the most likely is Kovacic because he's usually been, the starter in the Premier League games. But whenever, if I'm not mistaken at least, whenever he's played multiple games in a row, Sarri, after those multiple games, he was kind of, then left out or, not in the starting 11 on the bench instead because Sarri said, he was tired. So is he tired again? And does that mean Loftus-Cheek will start? Does that mean he will get the nod? To be honest, I don't know. Now, again, most likely is still Kovacic, so he will be part of that team that you can see on screen now. But I really rate Ruben. I really like Ruben. You should know that, especially if you follow me on Twitter. Do so if you don't already. I really, really like Ruben. So I'd always hope for him to start, just because I love the guy. But, not just because of that. I also think he's very good, by the way. Let's not, classify me as someone that just wants to start players because they like them. Not me. Not me at all. But especially when Hazard starts up front, I think Ruben is best suited for the left central midfielder spot, simply because without Hazard, we just don't have anyone tall, don't have anyone physical, ahead of the defence, basically. We have obviously defenders, but ahead of that, there is no physical player, no somewhat tall player, and that's why I think Ruben can be very helpful, especially with his runs into the box. When we are forced to cross the ball, at least we have one tall player in there to get, on the end of it, high cross rather than along the floor. So I think those are the reasons why I think Loftus-Cheek, especially when Hazard plays up front, can be very useful and should, in my opinion, actually be used. Now, tactics-wise, it's the usual. Pressing, moving a lot, passing quickly, getting people into the box for crosses and just for runs and passes, creating chances, taking those chances, and ideally, win the game. Yes, we all know that by now. But how about tomorrow, for once, or for the first time in ages, we don't have a 20 to 30 minute period in the game when we turn into a completely different team, when we don't know how to play Sarri's football anymore, when we just don't know how to work. We just spread completely, we can't pass anymore, we only kick long balls, we don't create chances, and we just invite the opponent constantly. Like we did at Wolves late on, when we obviously bottled that game against City early on, when we were a little bit lucky to remain at 0-0, against Brighton later on, when it got a little bit nervy in the end, Bournemouth in the end of both of the halves, first half and second half of midweek. So let's not do that anymore, please. Or even better than let's not do that, let's just kill the game before that even happens, because then the other team won't give it a last push in the end, and then we will never get to the situation. That would obviously be ideal. Now, like I said, I do expect a tricky game against Leicester tomorrow, but with Hazard up front in this system, I just still feel pretty confident. So I'm going to go for a score prediction of a 3-1 victory for Chelsea. We haven't scored more than 2 goals in a while since we beat PAOK 4-0. So how about we change that and score at least 3 tomorrow? I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet. Leicester do know what they're doing going forward. They're pretty good. So I think we're going to concede 1. But hopefully we can score 3 and take all the 3 points. But yeah, that's really it for me. Leave me all of your thoughts ahead of the game down in the comments section below. Your predicted lineups, your score predictions as well. Any other thoughts, all of it, put it down in the comments section below. Like I said in the beginning, let's see whether I can hit 400 or more likes in this video. That would be massively appreciated. So don't forget to smash the like button down below, of course. Don't forget to check out my social media, which is Last1507 on both Instagram and Twitter, as you can see over here, and also the links to both of them are down in the descriptions. If you could follow me over there, I would basically absolutely love you for it. And of course, this is YouTube, so if you haven't already, do make sure to subscribe to 100% Chelsea, and also don't forget to hit the notification bell button, ensure to be notified about all uploads so you don't miss any of the future videos. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, looking forward to the game tomorrow, and I'll see you next time.